Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, we have some big games in the NFL. We start in the AFC, where the Browns face off against the Titans. What are you keying on in this one?
I got the keys. How about this? When you have Myles Garrett on your roster, Odell Beckham Jr. on your roster, and Baker Mayfield on your roster, you wouldn't think the person that actually your catalyst would be Nick Chubb, the Chubster. But he actually has been. You see that right there? Look at that stiff arm.
Sit
Booyah!
down.
Like Stu Scott would say. You see that stiff arm? You know what I'm saying? And so running Nick Chubb and the balance with Kareem Hunt has been a difference maker for this Cleveland Browns team. Our producer, B-Lo, is happy. About the 10 Cleveland fans around the world, CJ McCollum, LeBron James. I know y'all happy. As a Lions fan, we got that 0-16 thing in common. But like I told y'all at the beginning of the year, it's the schedule. It's the light schedule. Don't expect to be winning no playoff games or nothing like that this year.
Yeah, the Browns are 8-3, which is a little surprising, but the key in this one is the run game of both of these teams, which is where both these teams gain their yardage. You look at the comparison between Chubb and Henry, it's a little closer than you would think. You know, obviously the numbers are different with the numbers of rushes they have, but they're doing well, both of these players. And one thing I want to bring up about Derrick Henry is how he starts to perform better as the season goes on. It happens year after year. You know what he did in the playoffs. But if you look at September and October and November, look at how his numbers increase. You know, yards go up, 100 yards games go up, yards per game go up. So that's what the key is going to be in this one. And big shout to Baker Mayfield, you know, because they've been through a lot in Cleveland. The Browns get criticized a lot.
Cleveland!
And they lost Odell Beckham Jr.
This is for you!
Jalen, you are watching Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN, but we decided before the season that from time to time we're going to turn it into the Cardinals News Network. We picked the Cardinals as our team early this season. And early in the season it started to pay off, but things haven't been great for Arizona lately. Jalen, they face off against division rival Rams, who have been playing well. It's sort of a tale of two teams going in two different directions. What are you keying on in this game?
The Rams had a disappointing loss last week to the 49ers that a lot of people let fly under the radar. And as you mentioned, the Cardinals have been struggling the last couple of games. And Kyler's going to be terrific, scrambling, making runs, and getting yards. But the thing that stands out to me, Jacoby, is at the beginning of the year, when I was looking down at the stat sheet, DeAndre Hopkins was getting targeted double-digit times. And I know we look back at the last few weeks and we see the Hail Mary play, but I'm noticing that, look at this, 3 targets per game down, 35 yards per game down. It's great to see Kirk one more pass and getting 8 more yards. That's a dynamic duo that they need to feed through the passing game. And I know the Rams ain't the necessary team that you want to try to get your passing game going against because they're the best at taking away the deep ball, in particular with Jalen Ramsey. But that's what it's going to take for the Cardinals if they're going to win the game.
It'll be really interesting to watch Ramsey because I love it when Ramsey just picks the best receivers. Says, I'm going to follow him all over the field. You know, that's exactly what he's going to do with Nuke Hopkins this week. But if I have DeAndre Hopkins on my team, what's the proper number of targets? Like 20? 15? Like if I'm Kingsbury, I'm designing every single play just to get him the ball because he is the most dynamic and, in my opinion, the best receiver in the NFL. Moving to another division rivalry game, we have the Saints against the Falcons. We saw this game a couple weeks ago when it was the debut of Taysom Hill at quarterback, and the Saints handled the Falcons pretty easily. The Falcons have been low-key playing pretty well lately. What do you expect to see in this one?
Shout out to Raheem Morris, has been doing a terrific job with the Falcons as they waxed Las Vegas last week. That was surprising. But for the Saints, Jacoby, it's about playing ball control football, really. Looking up at the clock, the Patriots playing like this with Cam Newton as well. Mistake-free football, throw a couple of passes, hope that you connect. And if you notice, most of his targets was to Michael Thomas. Basically, Michael Thomas has many catches in the previous game that he had all season. And so when you got weapons like that and you still got Kamara, this has got to be a big week for the Saints.
So Drew Brees broke a bunch of ribs, had a collapsed lung. I don't think he's coming back anytime soon. So if I'm Sean Payton, I'm not playing with this Taysom Hill thing anymore. I'm putting in Jameis Winston because if they want to go deep in the playoffs, if they want to really succeed as a football team and compete with those other top teams in the NFC, they can't do it with Taysom Hill throwing less than 100 yards passing. So they've got, like you said, they do this ball control thing. They don't turn the ball over, but they've got a low ceiling, high floor with Taysom Hill. And Jameis Winston is the ultimate low floor, high ceiling player. I say gamble. I say put in Jameis Winston and roll the dice if I'm Sean Payton.
The weak of the strong who got it going on. You're dead wrong, dog. You are dead wrong because Jameis Winston turns the football over. That's the only reason why they don't have him out there. And while we talk about the Saints, what we don't talk about is their improved defense. Their defense has been really good this year, getting to the quarterback, in particular that front four. So now you want to play ball control on offense. You don't want to turn the football over, Jacoby. Mistake free. But if you love Jameis so much, let me see you eat the W. Let me see you eat the W then. You ain't. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
I can't wait to see Jameis eat the W. What I would do is I would sprinkle in some Taysom Hill, much like the Eagles might be doing with Jalen Hurts. The Eagles face off against the Packers, a bad matchup for the Eagles, but you have to wonder, what is going on with Carson Wentz, Jalen Rose?
He's struggling, Jacoby, but he is their starting quarterback that still needs to prove that he can be their franchise quarterback, regardless of his actual big deal. But for me, you still have to give him an opportunity to produce. Because I know he's leading the league in getting sacked. I know he leads the league in interceptions. But you know what we don't talk about Philly's Super Bowl run? Their stout defense. And it hasn't been that stout. They dealt with a lot of injuries as well. So this is one of those games, if you're Carson Wentz, you can make a statement. See, Jacoby, this is the rational confidence game. You're Carson Wentz, you can make a statement. You going against Aaron Rodgers. If you play well,
they ain't making a statement.
Oh, okay,
it ain't happening. You know it ain't happening. So when you watch the Colts and they have Phillip Rivers and they put in my man Jacoby Brissett for short yardage or for Hail Mary throws, it makes sense to me. But when I was watching this game with the Eagles played last week, they put in Jalen Hurts, but it just didn't make sense to me why. Now, the first time he was out in the field, offsides, the whole entire right side of the line, jumped the snap, and then he was handing the ball off, it didn't really have any sense of rhyme or rhythm to it. What do you think they are doing with this when they put him in?
I think that for the culture, I'm famous in two of the most important places: the delivery room and the barbershop. And for Jalen Hurts, I love to see him getting an opportunity to perform on the football field. But what that showed me how the coach used him was that he didn't necessarily want to draft him, and he didn't definitely want to play him. He gave him some first team snaps this week. All right, GM. All right, owner. I put him out there. But now let's get back to the regularly scheduled program. That's what
exactly. Well, right after this, we will get back to our regularly scheduled programming. We not only have big NBA stories and NFL slate to preview for, we have a big fight. We'll tell you all.